Hi, welcome to Flirting with the Fish. Yet another fascinating episode. I know, I always say that it's a very special episode, but I mean it. हमारे सारे एपिसोड्स इतने खास होते हैं क्योंकि जो इसमें गेस्ट आते हैं वो हर बार इतने स्पेशल होते हैं. There is so much to learn from their life and take it into our lives that और क्या बोलूँ, special ही है. But this time, guess who is here? Okay, hear me out, hear the profile. Retired army officer, engineer, bachelor. Yes, bachelor. And while outdoor adventure runs in his veins, but he's done everything that any other army officer, of course, does it in the course of their service. But he has put Indian flag in the places that it has never ever been earlier. Yes, absolutely. So that's the credible officer that we have here today. But apart from the outdoor adventure, apart from serving as a very dedicated officer, he's also been the wind behind a lot of people's wings, especially the soldiers. वो soldiers जिनको हम देख के हमेशा बोलते हैं, thank you for doing what you're doing for us, thank you for keeping us safe at their homes, at our homes. वो soldiers की life की अपनी बहुत जद्दोजहद होती है. And a lot of times system doesn't really do much for them, doesn't really support. So he is one officer who stood behind a lot of them and did wonderful things which impacted them as human beings and as soldiers again. So allow me to welcome Anand Swaroop. Thank you for joining on the show.
Thank you very much for having me here today.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
So I'll not hold the audience from any further delay because I am raring to go and I'm sure they want to hear you rather than me.
Sure.
So my first question to you is that what have been some of those distinct decisions that an extraordinary person like you might have taken in your life?
I think the course of my life has been affected by two major decisions. First was to join the army, and second was to remain a bachelor.
And I'm curious about both.
Yeah, because joining the army gave me the kind of life that I envisaged or dreamt of at that time. And by not getting married, I could, utilize the time that was there with me. There was nothing holding me. And I had all the freedom to do what the opportunities came to me or what I aspired to do.
And you had this vision back then that if you don't get married...
It's not a vision at that time. That time it was just a thought. And as I kept moving up, I realized the implications of it. And then the resolve, got hardened enough to follow it up. And I saw the results.
Wow.
So I continued with it.
So you said you joined army for a certain kind of a life that you aspired. What was that life? What life you wanted?
Initially itself, when I was in college, I was to enjoy outdoor kind of life, sports and just being out. And I was an NCC cadet in my college days, and there I started flying gliders. And
In school?
In school, from when I'm class 11th onwards.
Wow.
So I joined NCC Air Wing where they had the gliding. I joined them just for gliding. So I did about 190 launches, out of which a couple of them solos. So that time, that gave me a flip to join Air Force. I thought I'll become a fighter pilot. But that time I had specs and the power was low enough not to allow me. So I had to give up the dream of becoming a fighter pilot. But it did help me in the sense during the NCC itself, I got the opportunity to go on a mountaineering course.
Okay.
So they got a vacancy in Himalayan Mountaineering Institute. So they asked in the gathering who wants to go. So I said I had no clue about mountaineering, but the only thing I asked them was, where is the course?
Acha. Location matters.
Yeah, so they say Darjeeling. So I thought, yeah, this is a good excuse to go and travel to Darjeeling. So I had no idea about mountaineering. So I went there and I went through the rhythm of the course. And at the end of the course, I thought, yeah, that's a good thing. Why not? I mean, mountaineering is good. I enjoyed looking at mountains and also whatever they taught us being in the mountains. It appealed to me.
That was the beginning.
So that changed my, that time I was not sure when I was in class 11 what to do. So that gave me another option when the Air Force got ruled out because of specs.
Yeah.
So then I was keen on joining armed forces. So the choice was between Army and Navy. So being brought up in Lucknow, the army was all around. So I had a friend whose father was in army. So I got exposure to the army establishment, the way of life the army people live and all. So that pulled me more towards army. I had no exposure towards navy. Had I been brought up in a coastal area, probably things would have changed.
Right.
But this is how it turned out. And then at the end of my graduation, I had a typical choice at that time was to become an engineer, become a doctor. MBA was something new that time.
Yeah.
Or join civil services, and one of fallout of that was also the army. So I tried for engineering, but somehow I was not very happy doing that.
Why?
I think this mountaineering course gave me idea about opting for army as a career. And that's how soon after graduation I appeared for combined defense service exam and somehow made it, and that's how.
So, but what was the quality that you were looking, that you thought you will find in army? What was it that couldn't have happened if you became an engineer?
One was the outdoor life because army was deployed all over, and of course army, I haven't seen a picture where an army guy is sitting on a desk and doing something. So that was one thing. Second thing was sense of freedom. I think that is what I longed for all the time, because as a student also I used to often go out on jaunts unannounced.
Unannounced?
Yeah, because when I was in NCC there was an option to go for a camp in Agra. So instead of going by train, I picked up a cycle and went there.
From where to where?
From Lucknow to Agra initially, and then after the camp, I continued and visited a friend in Shimla.
You went on a cycle from Lucknow to Agra?
Yeah, just to attend a camp. So after attending the camp, instead
of coming... How old were you then?
I was in class 10, so 83, about 16, 17.
16, 17.
Yeah.
And you said unannounced, so you didn't tell your family?
Yeah, I didn't tell. I just picked up a bike and went there. And after Agra, instead of coming back straight, I had a friend whose father was posted in Shimla. So I rode to Shimla.
From Agra to Shimla?
Yeah. So then I spent some time with him and checked out the place and then rode back.
And what happened to your family back home?
No, I just informed them in between that I'm somewhere there, and they had no choice but to accept it because I was already out.
And you were not scared?
No, I just took it that why not? The idea came to my mind and I said, okay, let's do it. And that's how I've been all throughout,
You did this ride all by yourself?
Yeah, all by myself, yeah.
Alone?
Alone, yeah.
What happened? How many days did it take you from Lucknow to Agra?
I think 3 days to Agra and another 2 days to Shimla.
And were you riding through the night as well?
No, just daytime.
Yeah. Did you have money to check into a hotel?
Yeah, just not for the hotel. I stayed in dharamshalas or army, those NCC camps or places like this. I had no money
you were not scared?
I just had enough money to eat somewhere. That's what.
It didn't scare you at all?
No,
On the highway, you're riding all by yourself?
No, I didn't scare. It was kind of a thrill and I just wanted to experience that.
This podcast is sponsored by Match My Talent.
Adventure is a very general word. But what does adventure mean to you?
I think experiencing unknown things that you have not thought of, going into unknown field or area, and experiencing the uncertainties is what I term it as adventure. It can be in all aspects of life. Adventure could be in the field of your chosen field of profession, personal life, or a specific the expedition that we do as adventure expedition. It applies everywhere.
So anything that's uncertain, unknown,
uncertain, where risks are not known, so you have limited preparation, and you just go with a confidence that yes, whatever comes, we'll handle it.
But I think आपके field में जो आप unpredictableness की बात कर रहे हो, उसमें तो fear of death, fear of
death is always there, but we go prepared, and if something doesn't work out, we are prepared for it. that come if all training fails, equipment fails, the situation is such that we are unable to overcome it, so be it. We've done our bit, and that's it. Leave it rest to the whatever God or whatever you think of.
So at every activity that you do, you are prepared.
Yeah, you are mentally prepared before starting that. Yes, it can lead to this, and we are okay with it. What's the point living without sense of accomplishment to you, whatever you dreamt of? Otherwise, living a routine life is boring. That everybody does it.
But if you're so prepared कि कुछ भी हो जाए, it's okay. To the extent of, even if it's the end, you don't have like things that hold you, attachment, log, wishes.
No. These are all, I think, overpriced or overhyped emotions. And I believe that more you give, more you think about something, more it applies to you. I mean, if you don't think about it, these are all, things that shouldn't affect you so much that it should stop you from doing a thing.
So are you a detached person?
No, not at all. I'm a social animal like any one of us. I enjoy being with family. I enjoy being with friends. But yes, when it comes to doing things, yeah, these things, if they have never been an obstacle in my pursuits. But if at all something comes as an obstacle, I probably would just overlook it.
That's quite a strength of yours.
Yeah, it could be. It can be termed as detachment, it can be termed as selfishness and all, but it's okay.
No, when you say that, then yeah, I don't think it's a detachment. I mean, you're saying that on one side you're very attached, but agar mauka pade or
but if it stops me from achieving what I dreamt of, then I'll go for my dreams.
Wow, and you seem to have pretty big dreams.
Oh yeah, dreams are never ending.
You do mountaineering, you do scuba, you do rafting. You do pretty much.
Yeah,
what all? By the way, what all?
I mean, everything that existed in India and even abroad. I have tried out everything, not because I wanted to boast about it.
Sure.
It's just that it gives me kick to try out new things, go to new areas, meet new people. So as the opportunities keep coming up, and I kept trying new things, and I'm happy that I could enjoy all of this it all started with mountaineering, but now mountaineering is just one of the things. Now I enjoy all kind of activities. Yeah.
And you've led so many expeditions and so many teams. So you have to always build a team to do that.
Yeah. Sure.
So what do you look for in a team while building a team for an adventure of this kind of a craziness?
See, even though people who do individually things, even there's always a teamwork. The team is in the background.
Sure, yeah.
But whereas I've been primarily into mountaineering to start with, and mountaineering is per se a team activity. And there are two types of. I've been exposed to Himalayan kind of mountaineering because I have mainly climbed in Himalayas, which are in our backdrop. There's another kind of mountaineering called alpine mountaineering, which emanated from Alps in Europe.
Oh, okay.
Those mountains are, less in height. They are located close to the inhabited areas. So these people can, pick up, do a peak in a weekend. Just pick up a 2 days ration and just move and do it because they are close by and it takes less time.
Sure.
But you can't apply that into Himalayas because in Himalayas the mountains are much bigger than Alps.
Right.
And they are all well spread out. So you have to spend a couple of days just to reach the base camp.
Oh.
And then to establish camps to climb a mountain, which involves a lot of infrastructure help. You cannot lug food for, say, 2 months on your own.
Right.
So that's how this kind of mountaineering is called siege. That means you lay a siege to a fort.
Oh, like capture it.
Yeah, so for this, it's not practically possible to do it alone. So you have to have a team to support you. It's an overhyped
What's
thing.
the kind of quality that you look for in this team?
So to have a team, you need to have somebody who is a team person, who respect the other team members,
the team spirit.
Who team spirit. He should be open-minded to learn new things, and also open-minded to make mistakes and learn from it.
Sure.
And also have a cohesive. He should be jovial in nature, so that people are don't hesitate to reach out to each other and things like that. So it's mainly teamwork. Physical fitness is important, but I think it's the most overhyped quality.
Physical strength?
Physical fitness and strength, because these things can always be built up. All of us have the same structure.
Right.
You just, you train for a particular requirement, and that can always be built up. But more important in my experience, is the attitude, teamwork, willingness to work, willingness to face the uncertainties, be open to challenges, be open to fail, and learn from the mistakes and move on. And this is what I figure out are the more important than the training or the physical fitness, which are usually considered more important.
Flirting with a fish. How's it going?
So, you have led activities and participated all over the world almost, and of course the largest part has been in India. So you are the right person to learn this from. That is there a difference between the way we perceive adventure in India and the way it's perceived anywhere abroad, in Europe, in US?
Yeah, of course.
There is a difference?
Yeah, there is a difference, because we Indians by nature are not adventurous. We like settled life, we are family oriented. We want to be employed in a job so that we have a routine life.
Yeah.
We are hesitant to go out and try out new things, like Europeans, they went out sailing oceans with a view to find new land for trade.
Yeah.
We didn't have that kind of attitude.
So ठीक है. So in that context, cultural difference है. Like इंडिया का हमारा एक कल्चर है, हम थोड़े लेट बैक से हैं, थोड़ा फैमिली कंफर्ट में आ जाता है, और बाहर के लोगों का थोड़ा सा एडवेंचर वाला होता है. इन योर एक्सपीरियंस क्यों इम्पोर्टेंट ही क्यों है कि एडवेंचरस एटीट्यूड बिल्ड करा जाए, या हो तो क्या?
What I have realized is that my people who are under me, when I send them out for such activities, I find a distinct difference in their attitude and aptitude once they get back.
Achha.
Because once they go out, they become independent. In our system, they are always looking for somebody to tell them what to do and how to do. Whereas when we go out on expedition, everybody is facing the same challenges. So nobody knows what to do. So nobody is there to tell you how to do.
Wow.
So you are in an environment where you are expected to take decisions, go out and reach out, and irrespective of your status in the hierarchy of the expedition team, everybody is equal in terms of facing the challenges. So they get a boost in their aptitude, and once they face the challenge and come out of it, they are very confident. They get a confidence that yes, if I can do this, I can do other things also.
Right.
So once they get back, you give them any tasks, they don't ask you how to do it. They just get on with it and do it, and they are motivated, and they have so much of confidence in their own capabilities.
Wow.
That they do the work which usually two people do, and then less time. So you see this difference, and
productivity increases.
Yeah, productivity increases.
Confidence.
They are happy lot. Whole atmosphere is happy. People, seek each other's help. They are not, trying to demean each other or overlook each other's capability or trying to push somebody down. All these things go. They start operating as a team. And then the whole environment improves, and you see the result. And it can apply not only to army or expedition, it can apply to corporate, it can apply to families, it can apply to any setup.
Schools, colleges, everything.
Yeah.
I guess life is life, and it may not always be a bed of roses. तो कभी ना कभी तो survival issues होते होंगे आपको भी.
Yeah, always.
How have you sort of when you're caught in a really tight spot, सब कुछ पता है आपको, but आप अटक गए किसी spot पे, तो how do you survive?
The first lesson I've learned is that at that time is to be cool, in the sense everybody panics.
Yeah.
Everybody panics. But if you panic, your mental faculties don't work the way they expected to work. So what I do is just sit down for a while, take long breaths, and say that okay, now we can't change the situation. We have to face it. There's nobody coming to our help. So think logically, rationally, discuss the problem, break it down into smaller pieces, discuss it with your team, and then, rationalize it. And then you always have options. Pick up a job option. You should be prepared to take tough decisions at times, and make it work. And if something doesn't work, there should always be a backup plan. And that's how things go.
Easier said than done?
Easier said than done, but it's quite easy when you start implementing it. It's
Habit,
only
but it becomes a habit?
it becomes a kind of a habit. Your thought process adapt to this change. And then you apply that into all eventuality, even here, when you're going out on a bike, if there's a puncture. One thing is, start calling people. क्या करें? Second thing is, क्या करना क्या है?
Fix करो
Fix
puncture
करो. You know, if nothing else, do it.
Yeah.
और कुछ नहीं हो पाता, तो continue riding. You know that tire will burst and tire will vanish. Okay, be prepared for a small financial loss. But you can't say that.
एक ही दो options होते हैं.
हाँ, you can't say that you don't have an option. You just keep calling people and waiting for somebody to come and help. So this kind of awareness, this kind of thought process comes because you have faced such situation and handled it, and you have adapted this mean earlier.
So any example where you got like really stuck, like survival issue हो गया हो?
I mean, in expeditions, it always happens. Only the
Always.
magnitude differs from time to time. Small incidents keep happening on a day-to-day basis. And I've been through a couple of life-threatening situations where we were just fortunate to be alive, and that's how I'm sitting here. It was in 1998. We went on an expedition to Mount Panchuli. It is a group of 5 mountains in Kumaon Himalayas.
It's a group of 5
mountains. That's why it's called Panchuli. Five peaks. Chuli is peak. So we went on that, and that time I was a deputy leader of that team, and I was leading an expedition to 2 of the peaks, Panchuli 1 and 2.
Okay.
So after climbing Panchuli 1, we set up one camp, and from there, that called Summit Camp, last camp, and from there we were attempting these 2 peaks.
Okay.
So we successfully climbed 1, and then we attempted 2. We went very close to the summit, but we didn't climb the peak because of an overhang. We didn't want to risk it. This overhang is a piece of ice which is hanging on the edge, and if you put a weight on it, it may just break and fall.
Okay.
So we were about 10-15 meters short of summit. We considered it having done it. So we came back to our camp, and then that was nearly the end of our resources that we carried, food and all thing, and we thought next day morning we'll go down to the base camp. Yeah, and as luck would have it, that it started snowing that very night, and it continued snowing. So
वहीं पे camp किया आप लोगों ने?
No, where we were camping, it started snowing after we reached the camp.
Okay.
It was the last camp. So snowing is normal in mountains. So we thought, okay, in the morning it will stop at some stage.
Right.
So next day it continued snowing. The visibility became poor. So we thought, okay, well, let's wait out for another day. But as luck would have it, it continued for 3 days. And in these 3 days, we ran out of food because we were already at the end of we were planning to go. So we had only 1 or 2 days of ration left. So after 2 days, we started rationing the ration, in the sense we started eating less than what we had planned for. So after 3 days, we ran out of everything. We ran out of food, we ran out of fuel to melt the snow. So we ran out of water, and the snow accumulation over 3 days has become so much that our tents were almost submerged. So we had to walk out and remove the snow from the top of but things were bad. So when things continued like this, then I was a team leader there, so I had to take a decision what to do. So we had only 2 choices. One was to continue waiting and just hope to survive without any food or water, and second option was to attempt going down to the camp, and so that we survived. So I opted for the second option because I didn't want to give up without trying. So we left the tent and all because we didn't want to carry more weight. So we picked up our personal clothing and started moving. And because as the accumulation of snow increases over a period of time on the slope, so it causes avalanches where the huge chunk of snow falls down because of its own weight. So the chances of avalanches keeps increasing as the weight of the snow keeps accumulating. So because of the 3 days of continuous snowfall, all the slopes were avalanche prone now because there was a lot of snow everywhere. So we were trying to move in a direction. Visibility was almost zero because it was all white. We couldn't see where we were going. So we started in the general line of direction which we thought was towards the base camp. So we continued, and as we were quite lucky lucky in the sense that we suddenly came under an avalanche from the closest slope, and we were all buried for some time, and we did
You got buried?
Yeah, we all were buried under snow, and we did our drill of swimming through the snow, and luckily we survived. We came out. None of us died, but some of us lost shoes, some of us lost goggles, and when we just dug out each other to fully, and then we assessed the situation, and we were worse than what we started off, because if you don't have a spec sunglasses, we are prone to snow blindness. If you don't have proper shoes, we are exposed to frostbite and things like that. So, but we had no choice. We were stuck. We had left the camp. We didn't have the security of the tent, and we had a long way to go. We didn't know where to go. So we continued.
कितना और आगे था? How
We
far?
don't know. At that time, we just started. We just about half an hour away from the camp, and we had a long way to go. So we continued, and I think we were being tested. And after about an hour of walk, we initiated a slab of launch. Slab of launch is something that when you are kicking on the ground, the whole ice on the ground just gives way. It slips back because of your constant hitting it, and it falls off as a slab. That's why it's called slab. So I was leading that time, and the earth under my feet just gave up. So I was just hanging on those two crampons, pointed edges of crampon, with my whole body weight on it, and the people behind me were tied to me on the rope. So at that stage only I was hanging on the brink of fall, but I knew that if I fall, I will take all of them along, because they were all tied to me. And at the dead of night, we reached the camp, and when we went inside the tent, people thought, they never expected us to be back, because they assumed us to be dead, because there was no communication for last couple of days, and they couldn't see us from the camp.
How many days was this?
4 days without communication, and without, so 4 days, of course, they had no clue. So, they were thrilled, obviously, to see us back, and we were also just thrilled to be alive. So, this is one example that I could think of.
But there was no operation to rescue. There's nothing.
How could there? Because weather was bad, rescuing, and they didn't knew where we were. So where would they? Even if they had sent somebody, they would have risked their life more than us saving our life.
Oh.
So these things happen.
This podcast is sponsored by Match My Talent.
So, what have you been chasing?
Chasing opportunities.
Okay. You already have.
No, yeah.
accomplished so much.
Whatever I could do was because I consistently chased the opportunities. Which even if a small opportunity came, I kind of followed it up to make it big.
And what are you chasing now?
Chasing now again the same opportunities with on my bucket list. Items in the bucket list.
You should be called a bucket list man.
No, all of us have bucket lists. The only thing is most of us give up and don't chase it because they got embroiled with the routine life and societal pressure or family pressure or children's responsibility. These are the
So
these
what's
are the common
opportunity
issues.
for you? You are an unusual man anyways. What's for you?
For me, I know there's still a lot of things that I started at some stage and haven't been able to complete it.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some of the projects. I'm still quite.
If I can ask.
So, like I just mentioned, after South Pole, we attempted North Pole, but we couldn't make it. So that's unfinished agenda.
Pending.
So North Pole is one. Then I want to travel around the world by all means, in the sense by land, by air, by sea. So
The entire world?
The entire world, because we have only one world, and having been born in this world, if you haven't seen the world, what are you here for?
And you want to see by all three mediums?
All three mediums. So it includes sailing around the world. It includes visiting all countries by land. Could be motorbike, which is my latest fad. Could be by food, by cycle, whatever it means, whatever it takes, I will do it. And also, since I have, like I mentioned, my sense of adventure began with flying.
Yeah.
Way back when I was in school. So I have kept pace with it. I have flown all kind of things without engine. So
that's a good one. Flown things without engine.
So like paragliding, hang gliding and all, microlight and things like that. So I want to go around the world in a microlight or hot air balloon, not the commercial airline, which is boring. And
but is it safe? Like, I get very scared. I really want to do so many things, and when I talk to people,
that's one aspect
scared.
which is presently needs attention of all of us, including government, because adventure is is nobody's baby as on today.
From government point of view.
From government as well as from management safety point of view. Like sports there's a full-fledged ministry there, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports there. There are dedicated Sports Authority of India which looks after. There's a Olympic Association which sets out the rules, regulation which Indian Olympic Association follows. There are the chapters in every state.
Yeah.
So it's well organized, on the lines of international thing. So in the field of adventure, it's not a sport. There are no competitive events happening.
Right.
So, but adventure is still taken as a, what do you call
hobby.
It's a kind of hobby or a pleasure activity. So that's why, you want to go rafting. So somebody will just take you there. But who controls rafting? There are no regulations. There are no safety guidelines. There's no licensing system. This is something which needs attention, because more and more people are opting for it now because the opportunities are coming up. But it's still, we haven't done it professionally. We are not doing it professionally. We need to do that, because to promote it, we need to do it safely. That's more important. So government has to make a start, because corporate work can promote it later on. But the rules, regulations, safety measures, licensing system, these are the one which a central government has to initiate it to be followed strictly by state governments, making these things popular.
Yeah.
Safely, and thus bringing the standard to the international level.
And it'll be so nice, because this is one space where India doesn't really have a presence.
Oh yes, we have no presence in the field of adventure in the international arena.
Yeah.
This podcast is sponsored by Match My Talent. Flirting with a fish. How's it going?
Just the last question. I am very, very curious to know about what happened on various of your expeditions.
This is going to take long, because I have been through about 25 odd expeditions in my life so far. And every expedition is unique, because the team is new, environment is new, area is new, challenges are new, season is new.
But like some of the key ones.
It was, I think, the first thing that I can recollect was in 1993, when we went on a expedition to Mount Nanda Devi. It was more of a scientific and ecological expedition, wherein the Ministry of Environment tasked us to carry scientists with us to see the impact of conservation in that basin area. So the people, geologists geologists, zoologists, botanists, all these people from national institutes came with us. We provided administrative support to them.
Right.
And they did their research, and they came out with the idea that the conservation has bore fruit, the population of all kind of things have improved, and the conservation effort should continue. So during that expedition, along with this conservation drive, we also climbed the peak. So I was one of the summiters, and in that expedition, it was a bigger team, because we had to carry so many teams with us, so many scientists with us, so to support them. And so Nanda Devi is one of the rare mountains where, because of this degree of difficulty, from the climbing point of view, it is even considered tougher than Everest, although the height is much less. And so it's about 7,800 meters, about 26,000 feet, not too less. And only 40 people in the world have climbed this peak so far.
40 people in the whole world?
Yeah, including 5 of us. So compared to say 5,000 people who have climbed Everest.
Because of the difficulty.
Because of the difficulty and because they are not, for a couple of years, it's not allowed to go there. So we were the fortunate ones who were allowed to go there, and I was singularly more fortunate to be in the summit team and able to make it.
Wow.
But it didn't come out so easy to us to be able to achieve this. So and during the climb, I had first stage frostbite, and but there was no latitude for me to give up and continue climbing because I didn't want to lose such opportunity, which is
with the frostbite.
Yeah, so we were climbing, and we were in Camp 3, which is at around 23,000 feet. And one evening we were just making tea, and these tents are made of very nylon material, which is very prone to catch fire. So while making the tea, one of the burner was quite close to the tent, and it winds were very high, and the whole thing was fluttering very rapidly. So during those things, somehow the surface came in contact, and suddenly there's a whoosh, and one layer of the tent just
burnt out.
Just burnt out. So that time we were just 2 of us inside, and it was just we suddenly realized that if we don't do anything, the tent will go, and then we have to sleep in the open. We didn't have a reserve, so I just suddenly threw the whole stove along with the whatever was on top of it outside in one flap, and that saved the day for us because moment we threw it out, and it rolled down. So we didn't have gas thereafter, but we had tent. So we repaired the tent, and we could survive the night. Otherwise, anything could have happened. So because of this, we continued. So the
presence of mind in that moment.
Yeah. So see, we haven't trained for such eventuality. But we knew it could have happened. But the very fact that you could handle it,
at that moment, to be able to think on the feet.
So these are things. Such instances keep happening in all the expeditions. We were on South Pole trip. We skied down to South Pole.
Wow.
Over 50 days.
South Pole.
Yeah, so we were skiing every day for a couple of hours and about 10 hours, covering about 30 odd kilometers every day. So we covered about 1,170 kilometers in 50 days.
11,000?
No, not 1,000. 1,170 kilometers.
1,170.
In 50 days of non-stop skiing. So, and so we skied 10 hours, then we pitch up a tent, melt the ice, make our food, eat, sleep, and inside the tent also the overall temperature used to be around -50, -60.
Inside the tent?
No, outside. Inside the tent is only difference of 10 degree from outside. So
if outside it's -50.
So inside is -40. So it's not much of a difference. So and in that expedition, since we were very far off from any means of transport, so rescue was not feasible. So we went with the premise that if at all something happened, we're not coming back. So that is what I call adventure, because knowing well that yes, things can go wrong, things will go wrong, you have to handle it, and if something goes beyond your scope of beyond your capability, then you're done.
Yeah, and I guess a leader in adventure is responsible for the life of its people.
Yes.
While we lead teams, we lead groups, but it's not, it's more about progress, it's more about growth, things like that.
Yeah.
But it's not so much about that I have to take, the least that I have to do is take this guy back home to his family.
True.
True.
Yeah.
And that's just so...
That's something that is a different altogether, and that's what makes it different from everything else.
Right. Climbing a certain height or being able to do something in a record time becomes secondary.
Yeah.
The foremost is to survive,
even
though you technically are going prepared that even if it does, but of course you're not there to suicide, you're not there to kill yourself.
Because the situations that I told you, couldn't have anticipated the way it happened.
Yeah.
But we knew that yes, some things, at least partially, these things could happen.
Right.
But we had the confidence to make it, and we did make it.
Amazing. Beautiful. What is your message for the young people?
My message to young people is that don't give up on dreams. Keep dreaming, and once you dream, go for it. Try to achieve it. Don't give up midway. And this life is nothing but fulfillment of dream. Otherwise, if you don't do that, there's no difference between humans and animals.
And dreams don't come easy.
Nothing is easy, but you shouldn't give it up as well.
Do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Keep chasing your dreams.
Keep chasing your dream. That's what life is all about.
Keep flirting with it. Have
Yes.
fun doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just work towards making it happen, whatever it takes.
Yes, definitely.
Wow.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you for inspiring me.
No, I mean, I did what came my way. And if it's inspiration for you, I'm grateful. Thank you very much.
Grateful. I'm grateful.
you.
And I'm going to hope that your journey reaches the youngs and the seniors, the 80-year-olds and the 90-year-olds.
Yes. I would love it if you, through this medium of this podcast, initiate it or encourage more people to live a life of adventure, live a life of dreams. Even if one person can do it because of this podcast, I'll be the happiest person.
Wow. So there it is. You see, I said it, that it's a completely unusual person, not because of the achievement, not because of the world knows him for, but because of the way he thinks. And the way he thinks, he leads his life. So two things are not distinct. So I hope the way I am, inspired, motivated, and very, very alert and conscious of what my life could here on be like. I hope it works out the same way for you. And like what he says, that even if one person gets affected by that's great for him. So I hope that one person is you. And I hope you take this inspiration in your life, to your team, to your family and friends, and keep flirting with your fishes. See you around.